Welcome back everyone to another homemade MRE. For this video, I am going way back into my past to a store that, I don't want to oversell it, but this store kind of kept me and my wife and my family alive for several years back when we were a young family starting out, neither of us really making a whole lot of money. But we found this store that sold decent quality items fairly cheap. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's a store called Big Lots. Now, when Big Lots first started out, they were kind of a liquidation store. They would buy up big lots of products from other businesses and sell them cheap. Then they started carrying some regular lines of products, and I'm honestly not really sure what their corporate structure is today, but if you know, maybe share it, drop a comment down below, and tell me what it is about the corporate structure of Big Lots that keeps it moving. But for today's video, I built an MRE at Big Lots. I present to you the Dad Budget Adventures menu BL2. Now it's BL2 because about 3 years ago, when this channel had a little bit different format for homemade MRE videos, I did one at Big Lots. But to be honest with you, I wasn't really thrilled about the contents of that MRE. So I wanted to revisit that. Plus, I've had a whole lot of viewers ask me to go to Big Lots and do another MRE. So here we have it. So in just a second, we're going to rip this thing open and see what's inside. But first of all, what do we got to do? We got to talk about the rules. The parameters that I set up to keep this interesting, to keep me from getting lazy, and to give trolls something to gripe about. Rule number one, everything in this MRE must be able to be eaten straight out of the package. Doesn't have to be eaten straight out of the package, it just has to be able. No reconstituting, rehydrating, anything like that. The only exception to that is the drink. Rule number two is that every item in here must have at least a 1 year shelf life, a 1 year expiration date, a 1 year best by date, whatever you want to call it, from the date of purchase. And that is strictly so that if I put this into an MRE that I put aside for a while, when I do get around to eating it, I want it to have the best chance of being as fresh as possible. On top of that, it just makes me work a little harder. I can't just throw anything in here if I have to find things that are good for at least a year. And finally, rule number three is the menu. It must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. With all that out of the way, let's rip into this thing, see what's inside my homemade MRE from Big Lots. There's also another added little bonus to this video. Y'all keep asking me to show some different ways of preparing these MREs, and today we've got something new. Stick around for that. But our first item that we're gonna pull out of here is our entree. While Big Lots doesn't have a whole lot in the way of prepared entree items, they do carry the completes. They had a limited selection of them, granted, but they did carry them, and I managed to find one that I have not tried. I haven't really tried a whole lot of these. I think I've had maybe 3 in total, but I got the chicken with mashed potatoes and gravy, and I'm looking forward to this because so far all the ones that I've tried I kind of enjoyed. This has got 17 grams of protein in it. That's gonna be a good amount of protein for an entree. But everything in here is shelf stable. It can be thrown into a pack. It can be thrown into a pantry. It can be thrown into your bunker, wherever you need it to be. And according to the label, it's gonna be ready in 60 seconds. Now, of course, the method we're using tonight is not gonna be 60 seconds prep. As soon as I show the side, we're gonna get this thing heating up because it's gonna take a little bit for it to get cooked. As our side, I found something that I've been wanting to throw in one of these for a long time. The problem is, a lot of times I can't find these with a 1 year shelf life. I usually come in just under that, but it's not often that I find them with enough shelf life to use in one of my MREs. But today I found the single serve, drink out of the can, Campbell's tomato soup. Now I think these, if you can find them with the right expiration date, are a perfect addition to your MREs. Who doesn't like soup? This doesn't require any kind of mixing. It's not concentrated. It's ready to go, and you just drink it straight out of the tin, which is absolutely perfect when you're out on the trail, if you're sitting around a campfire, or if you're in a blackout and you really don't just want to mess up a bunch of dishes. You know, the problem with messing up dishes is you got to clean them after. So having things that you can cook and consume straight out of the container, that is a plus in my book. So how are we cooking things today? Several of you have mentioned something that I've been wanting to try. Now the US military has what I believe is called an MRE heater, and essentially it's just a warming box that you can throw your MRE contents in, and then when you get to wherever you're going, they'll all be hot. There is a small portable variation on these that's available on the civilian market that a lot of you have commented about. Those are what people call a trucker's lunchbox or an electric lunchbox, and essentially what it is, it's a small box that you can plug into your cigarette lighter and heat up your food. I just picked one up on Amazon. Of course, there will be an affiliate link if you're interested in these to go check them out. This comes in a zippered insulated case. You can put this thing in to help preserve heat. So this is the one that I got. It's got flip tops, a lot like the Barrow Cook device does. The top opens up here. It's got a spoon and a fork in the top. It's got a vent at the top in case it gets overheated. And then you just pull the lid off, and then you got your cooking well. This one comes with a cloth for cleaning, instruction book, a little storage bin in case you want to put some things in there and not mix it in with the rest of your food. And one of the cool things about this one is it comes with both a 110 plug and a 12 volt plug. Now, I do have a 12 volt inside my camper. I also have one in my car, but today we're going to use my Jackery. This is a little bigger than the one that we used last time, but I'm going to cook this on 12 volts instead of using the 110. That way we can use a little bit less power to cook. So we're going to plug this in like this. Open up this end, plug this in like so, and then we're going to plug it in here. Now, much like I've done in the past with the Barrow Cook, I'm going to add a little bit of water into here to create a water bath because I think it'll make this cook a lot more efficiently. So it appears that the cooker only has one cooking temperature, so you kind of get what you get. But we're going to open this up, set it down in there like that. And sadly, I can't put both items in there. This is not quite big enough to do that. So if we're going to cook both of them, we're going to have to cook them separately. We just want to close this up and get cooking. So while that's cooking, let's go through the rest of the contents of the homemade MRE. So next we've got our walking around snack, which is these crispy fruit freeze-dried apples. Now I've said many times on this channel, I love freeze-dried fruit. I've had the crispy fruit pineapple before, and it is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to trying the apples. And one of the great things about freeze-dried fruit is you can eat it straight out of the package, or you can reconstitute it and eat it like that. There is such a variety of different ways that you can eat these things. But either way, they're always a treat. I always enjoy them. I don't know that I've ever had bad freeze-dried fruit. That's not to say I'm not going to run into that. But so far, so good. Fingers crossed. All right, so let's reach into the magic hat and see what's next. Our next item is our beverage. I got this Bigelow Vanilla Chai Tea. It's a single serving tea bag that comes in its own sealed pouch. I've said before, this is the way to go if you're buying tea bags for your MREs. Individually sealed packages, extend that shelf life, extend the freshness, and ensure that this is going to be the best tasting tea it can be when it comes time to enjoy it. So this ought to be a really good treat later on. And for our dessert, I picked up a Hershey's milk chocolate bar. Finding a dessert at Big Lots that had an adequate shelf life was a trick. I went through a whole lot of stuff. Chocolate bars are always a winner, but as we've discussed before, some people don't like chocolate. Not sure what their deal is, but you know, everybody's allowed to have their opinions. The downside to chocolate bars is you got to keep them in the right environment. These are not the ones that the military made for use in hot environments. This is a civilian chocolate bar that's gonna melt all over the place. So you have to include these things only in MREs that you're gonna use in a moderate climate. Now, if you're keeping it at home, keeping it in the office, what have you, it should be fine. But if you're using them for camping or something like that, then consider an alternative to this, maybe something like M&Ms or something like that. Now, this particular MRE, I found a bonus item for it. I've gotten a lot of comments where people say, well, that's not enough calories. Now, I will argue that because I don't intend these MREs for combat, that these are intended for disaster relief, camping, office use, what have you, most Americans can stand to do with a few less calories. So I'm not so worried about making sure that you're getting 3,000 calories out of one of these MREs, because typically we don't do enough to burn that off. So I'm not worried too much about not having quite enough calories. Not to mention, these are not for some kind of sustained program. We're not living off of these. These are specialty use items. But I did add something that I may start adding this as a regular item on the menu rules, and that is a calorie booster. In the event that you do need a few more calories, it'd be good to have something at your disposal that you can use or not use as you see fit. If you need a little bit more sugar, if you need a little bit more calories, you'll have this extra item. So as my bonus item, I got this one banana, pineapple and banana puree. According to the label, this is all fruit. There's no sugar added, and it's a gluten-free option. This will be something with just a few extra calories in the event that you need something to kind of push you along. So what do you think? Should I start including a sixth item on my menus and put in a calorie booster or a protein booster in every MRE? Leave me a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on that. I guess it's time to start trying these things and see what we ended up with. For our side, because it was not going to fit in the heater with the entree, we're just gonna do this straight out of the can. Y'all keep wanting me to consume things without cooking it or preparing it, so let's go at it from that approach and see if this is something that we would want if it wasn't cooked. If I can get the lid off. So under the lid, that's kind of like a cup top that makes it a little easier to drink this, there's a pull tab. Pop that sucker open and see what we've got. Put the top back on. Carefully. This thing is full all the way to the top, so gotta be careful with that. I want to point out that the color of this tomato soup is a little different from my usual tomato soup. This is more of a light orange color as opposed to the red that you usually get with tomato soup. This is creamy tomato, so I imagine this is made with milk as opposed to water, and that's probably why it has that lighter color. It smells like regular tomato soup. Let's give it a try. Let's see if cold tomato soup is good. Cheers. It's not terrible. The soup itself tastes like it's pretty good, but as I've said before, I don't care for things cold that are intended to be eaten warm. But this, I think I could sit down and consume this with no trouble. I wouldn't thoroughly enjoy it, but I wouldn't hate it either. The soup itself tastes pretty good. I think that's a good accompaniment to another entree, something to just get a little bit of extra nutrition, a little bit of extra bulk in your stomach. But I think that's a pretty good option. And honestly, you know, soup is a great addition to most meals. The container is perfect for this application. It's relatively small. It's sturdy. It's not a metal container. It's a plastic container, but it is a sturdily built plastic container. So I don't think this is going to stand too much of a chance of getting crushed unless you just really dump some heavy stuff on top of it. I think this kind of container, because you don't have to do anything extra to it to consume it, I think that is the option to go with if you're going to put soup in your MRE. Next, let's get our vanilla chai tea going. And what do we need to make this tea in? What else but our official Dad Budget Adventures bling cup. So if you saw my last video with our MRE from the Fresh Market, I introduced this cup that was made by a dear friend of mine just for the channel. While this MRE isn't as bougie as the last one, I just couldn't let another opportunity to show off that mug go by. Ooh, wow, this is an amazing smell from this tea. I would hang these tea bags in my car as an air freshener. That is a lovely scent right there. Exotic spices, vanilla. Ooh, yeah, let's get this thing in the mug. I cannot wait to try this. Let's get her dropped in there. Get that steeping started. And what do we need to go with our tea? If you said the little honey packs, you were correct. I cannot get enough of these things. I am going to go back to the store. I'm going to buy some more of these honey packs. I got them at the Walmart neighborhood market. They are perfect for adding a sweetener into your MRE, especially if you're including tea. The honey itself just has such a good flavor to it. I feel like I look for excuses to put it in stuff because it's just so good. All right, so while this is steeping, let's try something else. Let's try out our crispy fruit walking around snack, our freeze-dried apples. Now the smell coming off of these is a little less apple and a little more wood chip. There's not a strong apple smell at all. It's just kind of a dry smell. It's really odd. They're very lightweight. That's one of the great things about freeze-dried fruit. If you are into ultralight hiking or something like that, freeze-dried food is a great way to go. These are different. I've had baked apples, freeze-dried apples. I've had a variety of different preparations for apple chips. These do not have a whole lot of a flavor to them. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike them. They just really don't have much flavor. They're pleasant, they're good, but I don't put this in my mouth and think, oh, there's an apple. They're just sweet enough that the sweetness hits your taste buds and makes for a good eating experience, but there's just not much of an apple flavor there. But I do believe that if I were in a position to do so, I would stand here and eat this entire bag. Because like I said, they are pleasant, they're sweet, they're good. It's almost like eating some kind of candy. These are a good snack. Not a lot of calories here, not a lot of extra additives, but it's a good little something to munch on. Let's try this tea, this vanilla chai. I love the smell of this. It's such a rich smell. It's not overpowering, it's not unpleasantly rich. It's just an inviting scent that I find myself hoping that the flavor matches the scent. So many times with products like this, The smell is great, but then you drink it and you're like, okay, it smells good, but not much to taste. So let's give it a try and see what we've got. It's a good flavor. The scent hitting my nose as I'm drinking it helps a lot. It's not a strong, overwhelming flavor, but it's there. I think if it was something you were drinking because you had to, you definitely would find your mood elevated a little bit with something like this. If you were in a disaster, you were breaking into your kit, this was the drink that was available in there, I think you'd enjoy this. Just for a few minutes, you might be able to forget about the situation that you're in and relax a little. Let's try this bonus item, our calorie booster, our pineapple and banana fruit puree. All you gotta do, unscrew the top, drink it straight out of the package. Once again, items that don't require anything extra to consume them are always a plus. Smells a bit like baby food. Not an unpleasant smell, but not an overly inviting smell either. All right, let's give it a shot. I don't know how to describe the experience. It's not overly sweet. There's no extra sugar. It's not a fresh fruit taste. You know, I've had things like this before where it just tastes like fresh fruit. That's not really what I'm getting here. This is a very, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but it tastes like this wasn't made out of the best and freshest fruit. But as a quick way to get a little bit of extra sugar and just a few extra calories in you, it's not bad. It's not unpleasant. It's not something that I would say, no, I don't like that. I don't want that in my kit. I would eat that, but it's not an overly wonderful product. It's a bit more of our tea. So this is a great opportunity for me to stop for a second and offer a big thank you to everybody who's been helping this channel grow. Those of you that are dropping super supportive and helpful comments, it's truly appreciated. I don't know that I could have done some of these videos without your input. You guys are giving great ideas. You're giving good suggestions for places to go and particular things to try. And that's what keeps things moving along with this. This is definitely not something I could do by myself. Cheers to all of you for your participation and your help at making Dad Budget Adventures a successful channel. Let's keep it growing. We're moving towards 15,000 subscribers. Might happen in the next couple of weeks. If you want to help that happen, share this channel with your friends. And be sure, of course, to like the videos and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, so I think the time has come to dig into our entree and see how this little electric lunchbox heater has done for us. Let's pop the top. Everything in there is sufficiently warm. Ooh, that's hot. That did a really good job of heating this up. The video has taken about 25 minutes so far for me to shoot. It gives you an idea of how long this has been cooking. Yes, this is quite warm. Got one of my bamboo sporks. Had a couple of people asking about these. I like these bamboo sporks for a couple of reasons. One is they don't have that wooden spoon feel in your mouth, like the ones you used to get with the old ice cream cups when you were a kid. But they're also disposable, safely disposable. Like they're not gonna be around for 1,000 years disposable. All right, so let's give our entree a try. This is not the best smell in the world. I'm not sure how to describe it. Yeah, this one's got a bit of a dog food smell to it. Not loving the aroma off of this, but it's got a solid chunk of chicken in here, sitting on a bed of mashed potatoes with some gravy. You have to dig into the chicken and break it off. I'm sure it's probably pressed, but all right, so let's give this a try and see if the Hormel Complete's chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy is any good. Really does not smell great. All right, let's try it. Ooh, I do not love that. Not at all. This has such an overwhelming packaged food taste that it's just unpleasant. Second bite's no better. Ooh, no. I don't like to waste food, but that's not good. I'm not gonna be finishing that. I've tried their spaghetti, the Hormel Complete spaghetti. I like it. I've tried the chicken Alfredo. That's good. This chicken and mashed potatoes with gravy, that is god-awful. It's left an extremely unpleasant aftertaste in my mouth. No. My goodness, that is bad. As far as prepared, packaged food goes, there's no excuse for that to be that bad. Canned chicken, boxed instant mashed potatoes, canned gravy, those are staples in most households. The combination of them here does not work. Hormel, you did a good job on some stuff. This stuff's awful. Somebody left a comment recently, and I'm not 100% sure that it's true, and I'm not doubting the commenter, don't get me wrong. I just have not done any research to confirm it. They said that when Hormel created the Completes meals, it was done so that they could approach the US military about picking up a contract for MREs. If you know more about that, leave me a comment down below and tell me. Because I feel like they did a pretty decent job on some things. If I were a soldier in combat and somebody gave me that, I would not be very happy about the position that I found myself in. I can guarantee you that the Hormel Completes chicken with mashed potatoes and gravy will not be in my stock. It will not be in any more of my MREs, and it will not be in my pantry. If you like that, that's fine. I'm not taking anything away from you. People have varying opinions on food, but this to me was just a bad experience. The rest of the stuff in the meal from Big Lots was pretty decent. The soup was good. The dehydrated apple was decent. The fruit puree was okay. Wasn't great. The tea, outstanding. Loved it. But that entree, no. That's a big note for me. So we got one more thing to try. Not that I expect this to be anything monumental, but we still have our Hershey's chocolate bar. Chocolate bars have been an MRE staple for a long time. Let's give this one a try. It's got a good smell, good fresh chocolate bar smell. Good bite to it, great flavor. That chocolate chased by this tea, that's really good. So there you have it. That is my homemade MRE from Big Lots. I hope you enjoyed watching me suffer trying to eat that chicken. I do this for you. Not to pat myself on the back, but I put up with a lot for you guys. But I love doing this. This is a lot of fun, and I do appreciate y'all spending a little bit of time with me. But that's going to be a wrap for this one. And until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. And we'll see you around.